Hi guys, today's video is going to be over how to find slope using a table. I'm also going to review over a positive and a negative slope and then the slope-intercept form. So here's our equation for slope-intercept form. This is an equation for a straight line. So let's label some of the variables. So in y equals mx plus b, m is going to stand for your slope. So whatever you get when you calculate your slope, you plug in just for m. And then b stands for your y-intercept. That is wherever your line hits the y-axis. Okay, let's talk about a positive slope first. So a positive slope goes up from left to right, and if it helps you, you could imagine somebody climbing up this line, and if you can climb up the line, that means it's positive. So here I am climbing up the line. For a negative slope, it goes down from left to right. So for this one, you can imagine somebody either climbing down or falling down. Here I am falling down this slope. So let's look at a few examples and determine if they are positive or negative. So for this one, it's going up from left to right, and I can imagine myself climbing up this slope, so that means that it is positive. So for this one, it also goes up from left to right, and this is a little bit of a steeper line, but I can climb up it since it's going up. So it is also going to be positive. Okay, in this example, this line is going down from left to right, and that means I can climb down it or I would be falling off of it. So this one is going to be a negative slope. Okay, so now we are going to find the slope using a table. And if you'll remember from our lesson on Monday, slope is equal to the change in y over change in x. So let's find our change in y first. So I need to see how I get from 6 to 4. So that one is a pretty easy one to solve, but I'm going to do it on the number line. So I'm going to start at 6, and I'm going to go to 4. So 1, 2, and I'm going to the left, so that means it's negative. So minus 2. And how do I get from 4 to 2? That's also minus 2. And 2 to 0 is minus 2. So now let's look at our change in x. So how do I get from negative 1 to 0? So on my number line, I'm going to start at negative 1 and go to 0. And I'm going to the right, so that was plus 1. How do I go from 0 to 1? That's also plus 1. And 1 to 2 is plus 1. So now I know what my change in y is. This is my change in y, and this is my change in x. So now I just need to plug it into my formula. So my change in y is negative 2, and my change in x is positive 1. And so negative 2 over 1 is going to simplify down to negative 2. Because remember, negative 2 divided by 1 is negative 2. So our slope for this table is negative 2. Okay, let's look at another example. So first I'm going to find my change in y. So I'm going to see how I get from 9 to 3. So I'm going to start on 9 and I'm going to go to 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to the left, so that's minus 6. Now how do I get from 3 to negative 3? So I'm going to start at positive 3 and go to negative 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's also minus 6. Negative 3 to negative 9 is minus 6. And negative 9 to negative 15 is minus 6. So I have my change in y. Now let's look at our change in x. So how do I get from 1 to 4? So 1 to 4, you're going to add 3. 4 to 7, that's plus 3. 7 to 10 is plus 3. And 10 to 13 is plus 3. So now I just need to plug it into my formula. Slope equals change in y over change in x. So my change in y is -6, and my change in x is 3. And then 6 divided by 3 is 2, but I have a negative divided by a positive, so my answer is going to be -2. So my slope for this table is -2. Okay, let's look at another example. So this table looks a little different because it's just going side to side instead of up and down. It's the exact same process. So first I'm going to find my change in y. So how do I get from 22 to 32? And if you don't have a number line big enough, you can always subtract them. So 32 minus 22 is 10. So to get from 22 to 32, it's plus 10. 32 to 42 is plus 10. And 42 to 52 is plus 10. Now let's find our change in x. So to get from 2 to 4 is plus 2. 4 to 6 is plus 2. And 6 to 8 is plus 2. So now let's plug it into our formula, change in y over change in x. So my change in y is 10, and my change in x is 2. And then I can divide these down, so 10 divided by 2 is 5. So my slope for this table is +5. Okay, let's do one last example together. So I have -3 to 2. So how do I get from -3 to 2? So I'm going to do that one on my number line. So -3, and I'm going to go to +2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I went to the right, so that's +5. How do I get from 2 to 7? +5. And 7 to 12. +5. Okay, let's do my change in x. So how do I get from 0 to 2? That's going to be +2. How do I get from 2 to 4? +2. And 4 to 6. +2. Okay, now I'm going to plug it into my formula, change in y over change in x. So my change in y is 5, and my change in x is 2. And I cannot simplify that down anymore, so your slope is going to be +5 over 2.